In today's session, we are going to talk about Terraform SSH keys handling. And when we talk about SSH keys handling, then I'm talking about public key and the private key. In today's demo, what we are going to do, we are going to create a public key as well as the private key that we call it as a key pair. And after generating those key pair, we are going to write some Terraform script and we are going to associate those key into the Terraform script. So first of all, we will start with the public key and then we are going to put the public key into our Terraform script. And later on, we are going to use the private key to SSH or to log in into our EC2 instance. Before we jump into the demo, let's have a look on the Terraform file, which we are going to use for the today's session. Alright, so this is my workspace and this is my project, and the project name is Terraform SSH EC2. And inside that project, you will find a main.tf file that is going to be our main.terraform file. And if you look at this file, then you will notice we have a provider, we have a resource. And this resource is going to be a EC2 virtual machine and the machine type is T2 micro. Since we are doing it for the demo purpose, that's why the machine I have kept it as a T2.micro. But if you are using it for production, then please choose some higher CPU. And the most important thing over here is the key name. So here I have created a key. The key name is key for demo 2, and this is actually a key pair that consists of public key as well as the private key. But since in the Terraform file we only need to mention the public key, so here after mentioning the provider, after adding the resource, the next thing which I did over here is I have created a key pair. So that's the resource we need to mention over here. So the resource name should be AWS key pair, that is from AWS documentation of a Terraform. And here this is the key name. So this is the key which I have generated manually, and the key name which I have kept over here is key for demo 2. But we are gonna see, we are gonna generate some different name over here, and we are gonna replace this key with this is going to be our public key, and we are gonna generate the new key and we are gonna paste the content of public key over here. So this is the important resource which you need to add when you are working with the AWS key pair along with the Terraform. So I'll just wrap it around so that you can see the content of a public key. So this is my public key which I have generated. And if you look this Terraform file, this Terraform file is pretty simple. So you need to create a resource. You need to create a provider first, because you need to define what kind of a cloud service you are using. So since I'm using AWS, that's why the provider is AWS. Apart from that, you need to mention the reason, access key, and the secret key. If you don't know how to fetch the reason, access key, and secret key, then please follow the part 1 of this series where I have shown like how to get all this detail from your AWS account. And this is going to be our virtual machine, and the virtual machine which we call it as a EC2. Here this is the machine ID which I am using, that also I have shown in the part 1, so you can just go and check. So here I'm using the Ubuntu machine, and here I have defined the instance type. Since I'm using a very small CPU, that's why I'm using T2.micro. And here this is the key name which I have just explained, which we are going to create. We are going to create with some different name. And the third thing which you need to define is the security group. So here is one more security group. If you'll see, yeah, this is the security group we need to define. So here I have defined the egress and ingress resource, or the resource block over here. So one important thing over here is you need to open the port 22, because once we create a EC2 instance, then AWS doesn't provide you a username and password. So what you have to do, you have to use these keys to SSH or to log in into your EC2 instance. And for that purpose, that's why we need a public key as well as the private key. And to SSH into, you need to have this port 22 open. Otherwise, you will not be able to SSH or log in into our EC2 instance. Along with the today's demo, I'm just going to share this guide, and I will put the link of this guide into the description section of this video. So in this guide, I have documented all the commands which we are going to use throughout this session. So like key generation commands, and how to generate and specify the path where to store the key files. And also like how many files is going to be generated and which content you need to copy. So all these instructions are available here, but you don't need to remember anything. We are just gonna see every instruction into the demo. So yeah, please feel free to use this guide from the description section. Now we will start with the step number 1. So the step number 1 says we need to generate a key pair. And what does it mean by key pair? We are going to generate a public key as well as we are going to generate the private key. And the private key and the public key can be generated using the command ssh-keygen. So make sure that you have installed the ssh-keygen based on your operating system. So if you are using Ubuntu, then just install the package which is required for ssh-keygen, and also look for the Windows. So please make sure that you have installed ssh-keygen onto your system before running this command. I'm just going to copy this command from here. Go back to your terminal and paste it over here and hit enter. And here you will see it is going to ask you for the path. By default, if you don't specify any path, then it is going to store at this location home_Rahul. Then it is going to create a directory.ssh, and then it is going to create a public key and private key with the name id_rsa. So this is the default path if you don't specify any path while creating this SSH keys. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to specify my path where I want to store this files or the key files. So this is my path, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to specify the key name. So this is my path, home Rahul Jehu keys and demo. This is my directory where I want to store, and the key file name which I want to have, it is like a key for demo. Let's say put number 3. So this is the key file name which I want to keep. So I'm just simply gonna hit enter, and it is going to ask enter a passphrase. So if you want to create some more secure public key, then you can put some passphrase here, but I'm just gonna skip it. Again hit enter, and then again hit enter, and it should generate the two files, the public key and the private key. Here you can see this is my path, home Jehu keys demo, and if you I'll move it up below. So here you can see in the back in the terminal, so the path was home Rahul Jehu keys /demo. So this is the same path which I have opened, and the key file name which I have kept it over there was key for demo 3. So here you can see there are two files. So that one is the private key. So here you will notice that this file doesn't have any extension. So that is going to be your private key, and the file with the pub extension is going to be your public key. Now we have generated our public key and private key. The next thing what we need to do over here is we need to associate this public key with our Terraform file. So just open this with any of your favorite editor. So here I have opened it with my Sublime editor, and once you open it, then you will find this SSH key, the public SSH key over here. So it is just a simple string. So you need to copy from here, go back to your Visual Studio or your editor where you were working. So in that editor, go to the resource, that is AWS key pair. So this is the resource, and here I'm just gonna simply replace the content of this key. So I'm just simply going to paste the new SSH public key. Okay, save it. The next thing, we need to change the name also, because we have now generated the key with the new name. So the name which I'm just gonna copy it from here. So we can take this name also, because public key and private key both have the same name. So I'm just gonna take the copy the name, paste it over here. And also if you scroll down up, then we need to update the key name over here also in the EC2 instance. So save it over here also. Alright, so now we have generated the public key and private key, and we have associated, or we have linked our public key with our Terraform file. So once we are going to start the instance, then this instance is going to start with our public key. And we have the private key stored on our local system. So this is the private key which we need to SSH or to log into it. But before that, let's start our EC2 instance and let's apply this Terraform script. And the sequence for that is, first we are going to initiate. So we are going to run the command Terraform init. Then we are going to run the Terraform plan. And finally, we are going to run the command Terraform apply. Here is my terminal, and the first command which we are going to run is Terraform init command. Okay, now we have finished our Terraform init command. The next command which we are going to run is Terraform plan command. Okay, so that Terraform plan command has just finished, and it is going to create 3 resources. So the 3 resources which we are going to talk about is One, we are going to create a EC2 machine. That's okay. Then we are going to create a security group. That is going to be our second resource. And the third resource is going to be our key pair. So that is the key, public key we are talking about. So these are the three resources it is going to create. So I'm just going to clear the screen. And the next command which we are going to run is Terraform apply command. And simply type yes. Here you can see the Terraform apply command has just finished and it has created the three resources. So we can go back to our AWS console and click on this EC2 instance. And here you can see our one instance is running. So I'm just going to click on that instance ID. And here you can see this is the public IP address assigned to us. The next thing which we are going to do, we are just going to click on connect. And we are just going to click on SSH client. By default it is selected, but in case if it is not selected, then please go select this option SSH client, because that is going to give you the option to SSH or to log in into your AWS EC2 instance. So here you can see we need to look for the command SSH. So here is the command SSHI followed by the key name. So this is the key name which we have assigned to our Terraform script, and AWS says like you need to use the same key to SSH into your AWS EC2 instance. So here you can see the file name is ending with the extension .pam. But when we have created our EC2 or key pair file, so we have created a public key and the private key, and private key doesn't have any extension. So the only thing which you need to modify in this command is you need to remove this .pam extension. So because our private key doesn't contain, and AWS says like you need to have the PAM extension, but it doesn't matter that much. So you need to remove this .pam extension from here and run the command. But also AWS mentions that you need to change the permission of your private file before running the SSH command. So what you need to do is you need to change the permission, and the permission changing command is chmod 400 followed by your private key. So here again, this command also we are going to remove the .pam extension. I'm just going to copy the chmod command first of all. So I'm just going to copy this command without PAM extension. Go back to your keys where we have generated. So this is the key location where I have generated. So I'm just going to open the same path into the terminal over here. So I'm just going to increase the font size over here so that you can see. I'm just going to run the command ls first of all. So this is our private key and this is our public key. Okay, so I'm just gonna paste the command which I have copied and simply gonna hit enter. So now we have changed the permission of our private key. Now go back to your AWS guide once or AWS console once again, and now after changing the permission, now we have executed this command. The next command which we're gonna run is we are gonna run the SSH command. So copy this command, and with the help of this command we are going to log in into our EC2 instance. So go back to your terminal once again, paste the command, and as I told you, we need to remove the .pam extension from here also. So I'm just going to remove this .pam extension and simply gonna hit enter. And here you can see we are logged in into our EC2 instance which is running into AWS, and this EC2 instance is associated with our public key and the private key which we have generated, and you can verify with the IP address. So here you can see the IP address is 172.30.115.112. And if you go back to your console, go back to this instance detail, and here you will see 172.30.115.112. So that's the same instance ID which we are running into AWS. So this is how you are gonna create the public key, private key, and then it is gonna associate, or you are gonna associate with your Terraform script the public key. And finally, then you're gonna start your EC2 instance, and after that you're gonna use the private key to SSH into your EC2 instance. And once you're done with your example or demo, then you're just gonna simply use the command terraform destroy to delete the instances. I hope you liked the today's session on handling the SSH key pair along with the Terraform, and how to generate your public key and private key, and how to associate those keys with your Terraform script. If you have any question related to the today's session, then please put down into the comment section and I'll try to get back to you. And if you're interested into the similar content on DevOps like Kubernetes, Helm chart, Terraform and Docker, then please follow this channel where I keep on posting similar content on a weekly basis. And also I'll just keep on sharing the guides which I generally use into my demo session. So all the codes and the commands which I generally use are available onto the blog. So you can follow the blog jhook.com where I keep on sharing this kind of a guide. So that will be really handy for you. Alright, so I'll see you into the next session of a Terraform or DevOps. So till then, take care and bye bye.